Morning, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Larry. Don't do this to your kids. Just don't do this to your kids. You know, in our lifetime, we accumulate a lot of stuff. We accumulate a lot of things. Something has happened to all this stuff when we're gone, and usually falls on our kids. And I had a few opportunities to serve some other people, and it really opened my eyes to some things. And those are the things I'm going to go over today. I have one friend. He's a widower, and big house. Money's no object. Money's no problem. And he's very well off. And he's got a whole house full of stuff. I've never been to his house. He's never invited me to his house, but he's got a whole house full of stuff. His words, not mine. And in fact, I asked him one time when it was really bad weather, and I said, I bet you're glad you got a garage. You can park your car. And he said, oh, Larry, I haven't had a car in my garage in decades. I said, why not? He said, I got too much stuff in there. I said, well, what about all your stuff? Who's going to take care of all that? He said, I don't care. I'll let my kids worry about it. I'm like, okay, that's okay. That works for him, I guess. Then at the other end of the spectrum, I have a friend who's semi-retired, I'll call him. He's retired. He's retirement age. I think he's 66, and he still works part-time 3 nights a week as a security guard to supplement his income. And I asked him, I said, have you got a will and all that stuff made out? He said, nah. He said, I don't care. He said, I told my best friend that if something happens to him, and he said, just take care of my cats, and I don't care what you do with the rest of the stuff. I'm like, okay. So we have two ends of the spectrum there. This all came to light about, I'd say 12, 13 years ago, when I had my real estate license. I guess it was more like 10 years ago. I had my real estate license, and because I was selling some of my rental properties, and I thought I'd save a few bucks, and I did. But this one couple that I knew, I'd known for a long time. They lived in the same house for 40 years, and they wanted to sell their house. And I walked into the house, and I thought, oh my gosh, it wasn't hoarder, but it was close to it. What happens to a lot of us. We accumulate, we get all this stuff, and all of a sudden we look around and we're old and we don't know what to do with this stuff. You know, you always meant to do something about the garage, you always meant to do something with this or with that or the basement, and all of a sudden you're in bad health and can't do it. She ended up being in really bad health. In fact, she just passed away here recently, and because they were moving. And they didn't know what to do. They were at wit's end. They just did not know what to do. And it was really kind of sad. I said, well, I can help you out with that. Because we had to get rid of this stuff before I could list the house. So we did. I got a men's group from church and a 40-yard dumpster. And we went over there and we got rid of a lot of stuff and helped them pack up and all that. And it all worked out for them and worked out for us. It really brought to bear what we do with our stuff when we're gone. Now, I had another opportunity, if you call it that, when my mother-in-law passed. She went in the hospital last time, and she lived in a little tiny house, and she never came out of the hospital. I ended up going to hospice and passing away, but I was in charge. My wife was working full-time. Her sister was working full-time. I wasn't able to work at the time because of my health conditions. I could work 3 or 4 hours at a time, and that was about it. So I was in charge of the house. My sister-in-law came, got what she wanted out of the house, and my wife got a few things out of the house, but that was about it. The rest of it was left to me. Now, my mother-in-law was not a hoarder, but she lived in a tiny house. It was like 800 square foot, no basement, and a single woman. But she had a lot of stuff. I gotta say, she had a lot of stuff. And I'm going through this place, and I take it one closet at a time, one room at a time, and I found stuff that I couldn't believe. I didn't know what to do with. I had 3 piles basically. I had donate and recycle and trash. That was it. I can't tell you how many times I was putting something in the trash that meant something to her, but it meant nothing to us. It meant nothing to me. It ended up going in the trash. And it was very sad, actually. I mean, come on. How many coffee cups? Her thing was coffee cups. She was a big coffee drinker. And her friends would give her coffee. Coffee cups with all these cute little sayings on them. I mean, she had, I'm gonna be nice here. She had probably 50 or 60 coffee cups. And just when I thought I'd gotten through them all, I found 10 more stashed somewhere. But they meant something to her, but they meant nothing to me. But anyway, So I learned a lot on that. And I kept telling myself the whole time, I'm not going to do this to my kids. I'm just not going to. Her shed, she had an attached shed to her house, to her carport. And it took me almost 2 weeks just to go through the shed. She had every screw, every bolt, every tool, every box, it was horrible. I got most of it out and just left it for the next buyers. I told them, I said, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm done. But anyway, but it really made an impression on me. I'm not going to do that to my kids. Now, our house is a little different. We were thinking about moving right before the pandemic hit in March of 2020. In fact, we looked at a lot of houses. We were going to downsize our house, and but we decided to stay. After we looked at some, we just said, let's just rehab this house. And I was able to do most of the work myself, and I was doing better by then physically, so I could do a lot of the work. I was working sometimes, and I was able to do a lot of the work myself. And we rehabbed our house. I mean, we did bathrooms, we did kitchen. We resurfaced all the kitchen cabinets, all new pools, every new hinge, every new doorknob, every new light fixture. We spent about 60 grand on the house, and we got it the way we wanted. Of course, that's been a few years back now. Some of that's ready to be done again because it's starting to show some wear and tear. But anyway, we just decided at that point we were going to get rid of stuff, and we have. We've gotten rid of so much stuff. I told the wife, she always wanted the luxury vinyl tile and the whole downstairs. We have a 2-story. I said, yeah, we can do that, but you're going to have to get rid of this. We got to do something with that. We got to do that. It wasn't a couple of weeks later, but she said, okay, I'm ready. So it happened, and we're real happy with the results. And I just don't want to leave my kids anything that they have to deal with, as little as possible. So if we both drop dead today, if we both get in a car wreck or whatever, God forbid, but if we both drop dead today, here's what my kids would find at my house. I've already warned them on some of these things. About 15 years ago, I was going to the shooting range quite often, and I found a whole bunch of ammo on sale, and I bought it. I filled up 2 5-gallon buckets full of shells of ammo. I told my son, I said, you're going to laugh. I don't know what to do with it, so I'm just going to leave it. I'll let you worry about it someday. They're also going to find a whole tote full of pictures. When her mother passed, she went through all the pictures and got rid of about half of them, but there's still a big tote full of pictures. Big tote full of pictures. They're going to find that. I guarantee you they're going to find some expired food products in the pantry. We keep a big pantry all the time. My wife she's a cook, and she likes having a full pantry, and that's fine. In fact, just this morning she was going to make something, and she grabbed a can out of the pantry, and it was from November of last year sometime. So the expiration date, so she got rid of that. She probably could have used it, but who knows? She didn't want to. Also going to find a freezer full of vacuum sealed food, mostly meat, but all different kinds of food. We like to vacuum seal it, and then that way we don't have to go to the store quite as often. But they'll also find, and they know where this is, detailed information on all our personal information, our wills, all that good stuff. They know where all that is. So they're going to find some things. They'll probably find some surprising things they weren't aware of. But anyway, don't do this to your kids. Don't let them get stuck with all the stuff that you've accumulated. It's very liberating to get rid of some of these things. Now, if it truly brings you joy and peace and happiness, by all means, hang on to it. I don't have a problem with that. But let's face it, a lot of this stuff is just stuff, and it really doesn't mean it. What means something to you is not going to mean anything to them, because I've already asked my kids, what do you want out of our house? Nothing. They don't want anything. We still got some of their stuff at our house, and they don't even want it. So who knows? But anyway, if you got anything out of this, like, share, subscribe. Maybe share it with someone who needs to start downsizing in place a little bit. I made a video about this a long time ago, but this just brought it to bear a little bit. Brought it back to my mind as Christmas time rolls around and we're getting more stuff. But got anything out of this, like, share, subscribe. Until we meet again, I'm going to continue to press on towards that goal.